A very good Saturday to you, my friends and fans. Today, I want to say I want to say a few words about improvisation in music, regardless of the musical instrument involved. First, what is improvisation? How does the musical world define improvisation? Well, as human beings, we improvise every day in our normal lives. Most of the conversations that we have with one another every day are improvisation of what we are feeling at some moments in time. And one of the things that make us different from each other is that we do not feel the same way. We don't have the same feeling. And whatever feeling that we may be having at a moment in time is not expressed the same way. We have different backgrounds, different personalities, different upbringings, different traits that shape us throughout our lives to make us what we are today. So music is a language, and when we play it, we are speaking, we are having conversations, and the characteristics of our personal lives come into play in music, in playing music as well. So in other words, when we play music, when we improvise, we are playing what we feel. We are improvising what we feel at that time. In fact, because of the dynamics in our feelings, we may improvise over, or we may improvise solos completely in different ways on the same piece of music, depending on what we are feeling at that time. So music is a language. Music is a language. When whatever instrument you play, when you play in it, you are having conversations. You are trying to convey a message to your audience, and whatever you decide to play, whatever you decide to improvise is coming from within yourself, and then it's just like you are talking to someone, verbally. It's just that now you're using the instrument to actually transmit what you're feeling to your audience. But we don't do that the same way. We don't even do it the same way every time. So improvisation, I don't really, in my opinion, there's not a specific definition you can just attach to improvisation, because uh, it's kind of vague, because you don't. I would not. I would not attach a specific definition to improvisation in music. Because it depends on different criteria, different moods, different feelings, and it depends on various other factors. The way musicians improvise over progression. So I would not really, I would not associate musical improvisation to any specific definition. Okay, so like we know that there are various types of improvisation in music, whether you are soloing or comping or playing rhythm. There are various types of improvisations. However, in my humble opinion, solo improvisation is an art itself. Improvising chord playing in music requires a sense of harmonic motions and ear training. To be well versed in chord playing improvisation, it is necessary. It is important to know how chords change in progressions, so you can play the changes by holding the common tones and then move the other notes in the chords that are not common. Because when you basically it's what chord changes are. You're playing a chord, you're playing several chords, and then in those chords there are notes that are common to all of them. So when you play the chords, especially on the keyboard, any note that is common to all the chords, you don't move that. You keep when you change chords, you keep those common notes in one place, and then you move the other notes that are not common to all the chords that you have in the progression. In the progression. So chord playing improvisation is somewhat different from solo improvisation in this case. So you need as musicians to improvise chord playing. We need to have an understanding of harmonic motions, and some sort of knowledge and understanding of the cycle of fifths and fourths. That actually, which is actually the foundation of chord progressions in music. That the cycle of fifths, but I also call it cycle, not cycle, well, you know, I tend to call the circle of fifth cycle of fifth. I think you know, you could call it that, but most music books call it circle of fifths, but also add circle of fourths, because it is a circle. It is a circle, and you have just like a clock, and you have 12 o'clock, you have 6 o'clock, you have 9 o'clock, and 3 o'clock. So at 12 o'clock you have C, and then if you move clockwise, and you move an interval of fifth, okay, and if you move counterclockwise, you move in an interval of fourth, okay. So whatever note that you start on the circle if you move clockwise, it's gonna be it's gonna be a circle of fifth. No, it's gonna be an interval of fifth. Move, and if you move counterclockwise, it's gonna be an interval of fourth move. Those two intervals, they are called perfect fifth and perfect fourth.